Here is the feedback for Lizzie Ainsworth for animation simulation. That's part one of the module. So first of all, thanks for your videos that you've put in there. I've had a good watch through and listen to everything you've got to say in there. And yeah, I can see you have had a few issues with particularly the wrists and also with the feet. And that seems to have been a somewhat common problem. Some people seem to have been able to solve things, other people's not. Other people, not rather. There's something we might be able to do. Maybe I can demo something in this feedback. We'll try and see if it works. We'll have a go at that. But generally speaking, if I just kind of skip that for now, and we'll have a look at your range of motion work. Let's have a quick look. I can see that you've had a go at setting kind of joint rotational limits and things, which is good. I think for these animations, however, I would have liked to have seen you just to kind of show me some every limb sort of thing. So show me a proper kind of full sort of 90 degree-ish sort of knee bend. Show me a wrist bend, rather a wrist twist, an elbow bend, and so on, just so I can see every area that you've worked on, because I know you worked super hard on this, just so I can see what the effects would have been there. I mean, I will go into the Maya file anyway and have a look at that stuff, but it would have been good to have that a little bit more explicitly demoed on screen. Now, I see what this failed one, when I understand why it's failed when I saw the clip go through. But again, we can start to see that for the most part, it seems to work pretty well. Your weighting and your skinning of things seems to work pretty good. I'll just shrink this down a touch because it always likes to come through huge on my screen. And there we have it. So again, I do appreciate your kind of talk through some of these issues, and hopefully we can have a go at seeing why that might have been the case. Okay, I'm just going to go into Maya. Now I think at the moment I've got your facial animation stuff set up in Maya, so I'm just going to load up your other one, which I believe is in here. Figurative stuff, and thanks for putting the entire Maya sort of file structure set up in there. It makes a difference just for you to get into that sort of routine. I'm on the facial one now, what I'm playing at. Let's go back in. So file, figurative, rig, and so on. Scenes. So these are two different versions. So presumably, as was suggested in your talk through here, one version kind of works for one thing and the next version works for something else. So I'll go for what is the final one that we see in there. I'll load that up. I didn't mean to double click that. So I'm going to get a new Maya file there, but I'll pause it and then I'll pick back up when it's loaded. So Lizzie, I've opened up the file. Now I must admit, now I've opened it up, I didn't see a great deal wrong with it. Now what I did do, however, is I went into the human IK tab here, and I did play around a little bit with this, because this to begin with was in character, in the quick rig characters, which wasn't your character. So I just swapped it to this one, so then I could access your quick rig character elements to make sure I could access the bits I was after. So that was kind of hidden, so I had to bring that in. Now, another thing I did find when I first loaded this one up was this wrist was working in 2 axes, but not in this third one, which is like the twist one. Now, interestingly, when I was tinkering with it, it crashed. So I loaded it back up and it was fine. So I don't know if there's some intermittent issue with this, but it wasn't working. In fact, what I'd had to do is go in to the animation editor, expression editor, and I had to fix this expression. There was something wrong with the expression for some reason, which wasn't working. But yeah, I've reloaded it back up, your original file, and then it was working fine. So I don't know if there's some intermittent issue with it, like there's like a load error or something of that kind of thing. I did get a lot of this popping up, which may not evaluate as expected. And that was mainly when I was rotating in this direction, which is obviously the wrist rotation. That just wasn't functioning properly. So I did actually go in, I renamed this controller and then added the renamed version of that controller into here, and it fixed it. Now it's working without any fix. Don't know why that is. Now, the other thing that you said was that there was an issue with this not functioning. Bear with me a second. Not functioning at all. Now, I wonder if that's something to do with, again, with some sort of expression or something. So that I'm guessing is the display expression. I expect the fingers to splay out and things. So let's have a look at that together, because that I've not looked at yet. So we'll have a look at that one together and see what we can come up with. Okay, so you've got this element here, let me just do this, which is called splay control. Okay, so splay control, translate and things. Now it seems like it's added an extra character at the start of this. Let's hope it is as simple as that. And edit. No, it's added it again, so it's probably not that then. Okay, so I can see the translation is functioning, it is moving. And that is the correct name, splay dot translate Z, that's fine. So it's possible that this might be the issue then. I know one is rotating Y instead of Z, but then none of them are rotating at all. So let's try and see which bone we've got. So pair blend 3. I'm not sure what that pair blend relates to at the moment. Let's see if we can find it in here. Yeah, see, I don't find a character, rather an element in there called that pair blend. I mean, unless you've got some sort of blend shape which is called that, which I suppose we could look at. Shape editor. Well, there are no shape editor elements in here. I'll select everything. Nothing in there. So I was wondering if there's some weird naming set here, because you got two expressions there. Is it the display control or the expression 2 control that's supposed to be controlling this? I wonder. This is called display control, so I wonder if that's the other side. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling a little bit here. I'm just trying to understand what's going on. Yeah, so that's the right-sided one. And does that one work? So that one works beautifully. Well, obviously the skinning's not quite working. Yeah, so I think the issue is in the naming in there. I don't understand what this set of names is here. I think you need to be replacing it with this kind of thing. So I think it's almost like if you were to copy this and then replace that in here, I think that might fix it. But again, I don't know where that comes from. So I think that might be a fix for that. Again, the other thing I'll just mention that I did try and do when I was working with it wouldn't work was rename this. I renamed that name. I'd rather rename this controller for the wrist, and then just replaced the new name in there. Dropped it, and then it worked beautifully. But then again, I've closed it down and opened it up since, and it worked fine without any corrections. So I don't know the issue was with that. The feet here, there again, those seemed to work for me. Seems to work pretty well for me. So I don't know what the issue was with that for you. Now the thing I do notice is that some of the alignment of these is a little bit out. So sometimes your rotation's not working effectively. So do make sure that you double click in here and make sure you've got the right setting in orientation. Object usually is best because you're dealing with an individual object. Sometimes component can work also because it deems sometimes a component and an object as different things. Why, I don't know, but it does. That alignment there is a little bit weird, I'll be honest. But it's those kind of things which will answer your question as to why when you rotate in a certain axis is it rotating in several axes at once. It's usually to do with the setting that you've got in there. When I double click it, I seem to have just minimize that somewhere. I don't know where it's gone to, but see if I can find it because I've got these minimized slightly off screen, you see. Object. Did that make any difference to this? I don't think it really did. So I think it could be something to do with that. I mean, This looks like it's had its pivot point rotated, so it still thinks that the pivot of it is correct to the object. I mean, you could try editing the pivot, but I mean, I'm not sure at this stage it would be a good idea. Although that actually looks like it's aligned already with this. I'll just try the other ones out of interest. So interestingly, custom seems to work. Seems to be a little better aligned. The same for this. It's a pretty good alignment for that, but I would argue it's probably not really functioning properly. Yeah, I mean, custom seems to work quite good. Yes, I think that's possibly is what the issue was with that. Again, that splay, I think you could probably fix that by just renaming it. I mean, whether in the original file it was a different naming convention, it's been tweaked for this, I don't know. But those are some things you could look at. Now, I have had a further look at your model in here, and yes, there are some issues with it, which I think you've identified. So thanks for doing that. But generally speaking, the creasing works pretty well. If we do go down the route of just bringing this knee up something like this. That creasing is pretty good. It's probably doing a little bit of a spaghetti type thing. It's kind of looping around there, but it's pretty decent. That works well. Again, I did try out the arms and things. Was this the one that wasn't working? No, it is functioning. Okay, what I want to do is just remove the clothing because I want to just see how this works. So you can see there's an issue in here. It's much better at the back, but just here it's kind of formed like a little weird cave type thing. Again, this needs sorting out because it should really work with and without the clothing on. The head, is that the controller for the head? It looks like it. Yeah, there's a little bit of tug of the clothing, which is good. The hair is a difficult one to get right. So I did say you could turn the hair off if you wanted. So I will. But generally, that's not bad. It's probably a little bit too much fall off here. You could do with kind of smoothing that back a little bit. But that's a pretty good rig, you know. You've got it reasonably well done. Other than the issues that you've identified yourself, I think you've done a decent job of this. You know, I'm pleased with the fact that you've looked at kind of rotational limits as well in this, because again, it can make a difference to your model. Okay, so we'll leave it there for the character, and I want to move on to the work you've done on the facial rig as well. So we'll just pop up your file again. We'll just go back here, and then we'll have a look at the facial stuff you've got, and we'll stick those into VLC and have a spin through those. Okay, I'll just adjust the size so I can see what's going on. Okay, so I'm glad you've also demonstrated the overall kind of head rig. It does look like that the chin's not working quite right. It looks like it's kind of pulling a little bit to me. The tip of the chin, not enough fall off kind of down towards the neck. But again, you've had to go at the rotational limits for that, which is a good thing because it means that, you know, once you've set those up, anything you do will be within the sound limit. So that all works. It doesn't look like there's any skin tugging on the eyelids, which I know was an extra, but it would have been nice to see you attempt that. But they do function. Okay, it's a nice controller for the mouth. So rather than having a slider, I think with the mouth open there, let's run it back a little. I think this top lip is too flat. There should be some curvature there. So again, you just have a little bit of fall off of the influence of the bottom jaw going up towards the top lip as well. And just kind of curve it down. And similarly with the top, the bottom lip should come up and meet the top lip. There's a little bit too flat along the top. All right. Okay, so you got the corners. I don't know if those are kind of corrective things or they're controls. I was just about to say you should title these. Okay, so they're smile controls, things for the cheeks. These are very subtle, these things. I'd like to have perhaps seen them a little bit more exaggeration of some of these, because then you can always rein it back if you don't want the entire thing. Again, I think some of this possibly is the shading that we've got in there. It's not easy to see. It's good that you've got kind of ones that do both brows, ones that do kind of everything together and things. That's useful. Good nostril stuff. Sorry, that's me just popping the assignment up because I just wanted to check something out on it. Presumably they're the bottom lids, are they? Okay, that's good. It's good you've got separate controllers for those. So that's good. Okay, let's check out your animation of this. It's better to see it in a slightly better shader that we've got here. That's good. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to have one final look at this. Yeah, so there's no skin tugging, I don't think, around the eyes when the eyes move. So that's one thing that you could have done. I'm just going to drag this across. So this is the additional chunk of the assignment that I put out there. So being a little bit more explicit about the expectations of the assignment. Okay, so kind of in terms of the figurative stuff, yeah, I think it's a well-designed and executed control system that you put together there. It's a shame that that splay doesn't work for both hands, but I did see that it did work for one hand, so I know you can do it. So that's a thumbs up, that's good. Skin deformation, no tearing. There's a little bit around the shoulder area. Everything else seemed pretty good. The elbows were good. The backs and knees were pretty good, although there were perhaps a little spaghetti thing going on there. Individual articulating fingers and thumbs, yes, we got that. Single toe bone for each foot, yes, that worked. Now the extra elements, yeah, you did have the rolling wrist bone in there. The foot roll, which was kind of heel and toe, wasn't done, but again, it's an extra, so that's not the end of the world. You're still going to get some reasonable marks for having done that. Exaggeration tools, probably not really for the figurative stuff, but yeah, I would say you've got some element of that in the facial stuff. So facial stuff, appropriately designed and executed facial control system. Yep, that's good. Combination of bones and blend shapes. Now the thing I didn't look at was your character. So let's have a quick look in here, if I can find my Maya. So this is your facial stuff. Yeah, so you've definitely got blend shapes in there. You've also got the bone system in there. For some reason, it's not showing the mesh. Now, I will be honest, you're the second person whose file I've opened and is not showing the mesh, so I don't think it's particular to yours. Now, what's this? No, again, that's just the textual stuff. Yes, it seems to be hiding the mesh. So don't worry about that. I'm not so concerned. Again, I can't seem to turn it on using any of these settings. So I don't think it's something you've done. I think it's more something one of the settings maybe I've got on Maya. So I'll probably have to reload Maya up or something to get that to her. But don't worry about that. The main thing I wanted to look at was this stuff. Okay, so expression stuff. So that's obviously the jaw rotate. I know it works. I've seen it. I just want to see the expression that you've got set up. And you've obviously got a lot of blend shapes in there to make that work. I think it'd have been useful to see perhaps a few corrective blend shapes in there, because again, it would add a little bit extra to show that you've thought of those things. So things like when maybe when the lips meet, they kind of just purse and pucker up slightly. That's kind of a corrective thing. Could have done something with that. I'll just bring back up the assignment if I can find it. There it is. Yep, so not really much corrective stuff. I'd like to have seen that. Blinkable eyelids there, and a bit of eyes, mouth and brow. Yep, they're all good. Possible extras, kind of eyelid deformation with eye movement, so kind of skin tug of the eyelid. The jaw left and right, you did have, not the skin tug stuff. Exaggeration tools, I would say, within your control system, you have got a means of exaggerating things as well. That's good. We kind of looked at that kind of stuff already. Now, your research and development portfolio I have looked at, but we'll have another look together. So yeah, I'm pleased that you've gone into some detail beyond just the skeletal system. I know you've considered joint limitations because that's evident in the work that you've done in your Maya file and also in your demonstration video. So I'm pleased with that. I think it's interesting you've gone down the route of actually looking at female muscular system, not just human body muscular system. So again, that's good. You've gone to that level of detail. There's a lot of work here in in joint movable, rather joint limitations, I should say. Again, it does show, as I've already said. Good links, good use of those. I'm glad you've looked beyond just a few images and things. You've gone beyond that, and you are looking at moving picture as well as still images. That shows that you've considered about not just that it can move or just what its limits are, but how it moves, how it gets there, maybe what happens halfway through a movement. These are important things as well. Again, facial rig stuff, it's good that you considered kind of shapes, shape lists. It's good that you're looking at people articulating their mouths and things. But what I'm really pleased with is you've also looked at control systems. You've not just said, I'll make a control system. You've seen what's out there already. You've seen why people use certain setups. I'm pleased also that in here you allude to the fact that you're considering what the animator would want. Not just what can you make, but what would they want. Okay, so all in all, I think this is it's a very good attempt for this assessment. I know you've struggled. A lot of people have actually. It's as much a technical challenge as it is a creative challenge, this one. So it's a real kind of creative problem solving exercise. That said, I think that you solved enough stuff in there for me to be able to say that I would be confident that if we were to let you loose on doing some more rigging, you might not ever want to, having experienced this, but if I was confident, I would be confident rather that you could have a go at it and you do a good job of it. I know you will have learned from this experience. So generally well done.